Hey, good morning everyone. It is Friday. I'm super excited about it. The weekend is upon us. Today we're working on the one of the fields. As you can see, the hay slash straw collecting's been going great. I have another one almost ready to go. But outside of that, what I've been doing that's kind of slowing me down is I've been collecting cardboard, I'm trying to do the whole no-dig garden thing, which is tons of mulch and not mess with it, build the soil, because I just got sand. And so I just been getting cardboard here and there, and it's really slow, and I haven't been able to set enough aside because the wind usually takes it away from me after I save it to do anything. But today is a really awesome day because me and the family were at Lowe's yesterday, and they happened to have this just ridiculous deal on clearance that I couldn't say no to. So I now have no problem with cardboard. Check this out. Alright, so I bought 100 5-packs of 30-inch leaf bags. They're normally $2.25 a piece, and they were marked on clearance for 9 cents. It's awesome to see the total go from like 115 all the way down to $4.50. The checker was like, "Is this right?" So one shopping cart held 50 packs of 5, which is 250 bags. And then another shopping cart held another 50, which is another 250 bags. So I was able to get 500 30-inch heavy-duty paper bags for under 10 bucks. I am really excited about this because now I can just start laying them out, get more hay on top, do it right. These fields are going to come along quickly. Okay, it looks like it was actually 30 gallons, not 30 inches, but here's the bag. It's pretty huge. There we go. Takes up quite a lot of the tailgate. So my plan is basically just to undo the bags like this and then just set them right there on the ground. And then if I get another bag open, this is probably like 18 inches wide or something. If I just get like another bag and kind of overlap it like that on the ground, it'll give me a really nice and wide path that will be protected from weeds and stuff. And then I can just come in and lay rocks or whatever on top of it, and then that'll be the path. And so that's 2 feet by 3 feet-ish of a path for 2 cents, I think. That's actually a really good price. I've been trying to find stuff like this on the cheap, and you really can't. You gotta find someone's either getting rid of it, doesn't care about it, or you get charged for it. But I'm glad I found the middle route of super clearance. I seriously want to call those guys and be like, "Hey, if you got that pallet left, cut me a deal on it." You'd be surprised how often you can come across stuff like that. Okay, so now the question is, where do I set these so that they don't fly away, and also to where they don't, well, get wet and rot and all that stuff. I don't have 2 shopping carts, sadly, or I'd do that. Maybe I'll kick my butt in gear and start laying everything down, actually get some work done. I think that sounds like a good plan. Unfortunately, at 9 o'clock or 9:30, it's already baking out here. Made a mistake in not getting up at 4:30 in the morning, apparently, to do some work. So I gotta wait till about 5 o'clock to get out here and start doing work. After my neighbor went to the hospital with heat stroke, and the surgeon told him that his body was so low in electrolytes that it was dissolving his kidneys to get them, I've been really worried about working out in the heat like this. I even went and bought some Pediasure from the dollar store, Keep on top of that. Well, exciting times. I'm going to go inside where it's cool and do some more planning. sitting here taking measurements off of these bags so I can do a little calculation to see how many bags I need per field and all that. And look at this. What did you do this weekend? Love this statement because it reminds me how often I just mess around, wasting time doing whatever. You know, the people that get stuff done are surprisingly people that do stuff. Call it a foot to the end of the letter D. 16-inch bags wide. Alright, so measuring the length, it looks as though each of the folding panels is a foot, except for the very, very last panel, which ends up being 10.5 inches. Alright, so the bag's 34 inches long, 16 inches tall. That gives us 544 square inches for the area of the bag. If we divide that number by 12, we get like 45.33. I think that was too much. For feet, doesn't look like 45 square feet to me. Divide that by 12 again, we get 3.77 square feet of area. That seems much better. So that's the number I'm going with. Here's the numbers I mostly need. I'm going to also create an overlap of at least 2 inches, so this number is going to become 14. That will change this number, which will be the area that 2 of these will be able to take up, which is my path width, and then I will be able to copy and paste it forward, basically, and create the pattern. The shape for the walkway is basically going to be 2 bags overlapped side to side, and then overlapped on the length as well. If I do that, a 2-inch overlap on one bag is going to turn it from 16 inches to 14 inches. So it will be 16 plus 14, which is 30. So 2 bags is 30 tall. 2 bags lengthwise with a 4-inch overlap becomes 64 inches. That means the area of 4 bags in their correctly overlapped size is 1,920 square inches, which becomes 13.33 square feet. Now, if one of my gardens is 22 by 24 feet, we'll say by 22 for math's sake, because I'm likely not going to cover the entire area with it, and there's going to be a light space around the edge. Now, that's going to equal 484 square feet. 4 of these cover 13 1/3, so that makes sense that the whole field would be way larger than 4 of them. Now, if we take this number and divide it by 4 panels. Sorry, this is wrong. It's supposed to be... If we divide this by 13.33, which is representative of 4 bags, okay? We get 36.33. So we divided the total square footage or the area of the field by the amount of square footage that 4 bags can cover. That gives us a requirement of 37 bags to cover the field, and we multiply the cost of those 37 bags by their individual cost of almost 1 cent. That gives us 25 cents. So it will cost me a quarter to cover the entire 500-ish square foot field with about an 1/8 inch of thick paper mulch. Let's compare the cost of bags on sale versus the bags not on sale. So how much I would normally pay if this was, you know, a method I was trying to do in the gardens with. Now, 9 cents for 13 1/3 square feet at the store equals out to 7/10 of a cent per square foot. If we use that same equation and just sub in the actual original price divided by the same, we get 17 cents per square foot. If we plug that in here, This is how many bags we'll need to get the square footage of the same field times 17 cents. Instead of a quarter, it equals out to $6.29. That is 25 times this, because we need basically 25 quarters to equal $6.29. And that equals out to 2,516% savings. I think that's going to be a record for like the rest of my life. Now it's time to draw out the field and get a little better of a feel for exactly what it's going to look and feel like. Get an exact count of the number of bags we need in our actual field setup. Now there's a lot of things we could do to make it easy. We could just make each one of our rows 1 bag wide, then just figure out our row spacing and how many bags we need to fill the length, and not worry about the width necessarily. But I like to just actually play with it. So the scales is a 1/4 inch equals a foot. So this is 22 feet by 22 foot field. So I take 22 feet and multiply it by 1/4, which gives us the exact current dimension of the rectangle drawn on paper. Now, the 3 foot entrance right here, 3 feet, 3 1/4 of a foot. This is 0.75 of 1 inch, or 3/4 of an inch of a line on the paper wide. Okay, so everything is to scale. I went and calculated exactly what the true dimensions of 4 bags equals out to in scale, and in 1/4 inch to 1 foot scale, the, I guess you could say, width of the bag is 0.625 of an inch wide, and the length of the bags is 1.325 of an inch long. And so 0.125 is 1/8 of an inch, so this is half plus 1/8. This is 1 1/4 inches plus 1/8. It's not too, well, it's a little more, but whatever. So now we have it. So now what I've done is I've measured from a corner of the bag over 1.325 down 0.625, and that gives us a true to scale representation of this rectangle here. Now we just rip it off and we can kind of move it around and use it as a template. You can do this kind of stuff for figuring layouts of furniture and all that kind of stuff. So that should be the exact same size as that rectangle there. Okay, so this represents 4 bags as we've been measuring in the field that we want to plant stuff in. So now, because this is all to scale and this is 4 bags, I can just kind of move it around and say, oh, that looks good. You know, I want to have a little distance from the edge of the fence to the left of my 3-foot path. What would that be? And then you can see exactly what looks good on the layout, and then take your scale, or in this case a ruler, and then figure out what that distance is. You know, for the sake of calculation, we could hopefully make it something like 1/4 of an inch. Okay, so we'll go in here with the ruler. Let's see, let's put on an even number 3, and then we see, oh, it's almost 1/4 of an inch. All right, so then we would go over to our scale. 1/4 of an inch equals a foot. Well, that means that that is exactly 1 foot away from the fence to the edge of the bags, and the center of the bag would be the center of the planting row. So that seems good to me, right? So then you'd go like that, and you could then make a mark on your paper, and then move this forward here, make another mark, and you can see you're going to be left with a fraction. So let's go ahead and see what this looks like. So for the first row, it's exactly 1 foot away from the fence. If we hold this up here, we see that it takes 4, 8, 12 bags. You could probably make it 14 or something, or just turn one sideways, maybe make it 13 bags. But in this case, might be better just leave this open, you know. So now we know for one row in a 22-foot field, if we stack 2 bags wide with an overlap, 2 bags long with an overlap, it'll take us 12 bags. Now let's just see real quick how fast we can calculate it out. So 12, then there's going to be a 1/4 inch gap, another 12, and then what we're going to do is just do this real quick, alright? So then we go 1/4 inch, there's the top, that would be then another 1/4 inch, and that's a row. And then we go here, another 1/4 inch, and then that's the row. And then here, another 1/4 inch, and then that's the row. And then we end up with some sort of fraction here, because nothing always works out perfect unless you really, really plan it out. I built the field before I had my row spacing figured out. So, now, we know that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows. If we take 5 times 12, that's the number of bags we need. Bam. Done. Oh yeah, by the way, we know it's 36 already because we cheated, did our math earlier, right? Now the number we got when we calculated it was 37. We needed 37 groups of 4 bags, which is 148 bags, to cover the entire square footage of the shape, which equals out to 484 square feet. But we're not actually going to cover the entire field with bags. We're just going to cover rows with bags, okay? And then the rest is just going to be mulch. So what we do is we now subtract the negative space, or the shapes that are not going to be covered in bags, so we can get an actual count of the number we need. And this is why I do not do stuff with math, and I just do stuff with physical models, because you can figure it instantaneously compared to doing all this number work. Okay, so the entire field's 484 square feet. We are subtracting 6 by 22 square feet. This represents 1 foot by 22 feet spacer, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spacers. So we subtract the area of those. Now, on the end, this ends up being 1/2 inch in scale, which ends up being 2 feet wide at the end of the row. So the row doesn't go all the way to the fence, which is obvious here. This distance is 2 feet, so we subtract that. Now the 3 foot, which is the entrance, is kind of a rough dimension, so we then subtract 3 feet by 22 long, and we are left with 242 feet. That is the amount of square footage that we are going to plant in based upon the row plan that we have. If we then divide that number by 13 1/3, which is the amount of square footage that 4 of the bags overlap covers, we get 18. We then have to multiply that by 4 because there's 4 bags in 13 1/3 square feet. That gives us 72. You notice here in the physical model that it's about at 60. The reason why it's coming up with 72 is because in actuality these are all very rough, and I didn't even exactly do them at all. But you would notice that this fits almost perfectly to give ourselves another row, which if we add 12 to 60 equals 72. So if we subtract 12 from that, we get 60. That's how we know that everything is correct on what we've calculated, and this is why people just roll out in the field and drop the bags down and just tell you at the end, there's going to be 60, because I just put 60 in the field and that's all that fits. But this is how you can calculate any field out, really. any size, any scale, and figure out how many cheap bags you need to cover the rows you want to plant. That's all I got for this afternoon. I've been taught to check my math, so believe it or not, after this video is over, I was going through everything and I found some errors in it, so I'm going to let you know what was wrong. I made a mistake by calculating, and I did mention it that it was going to be a little off, but it bugged me so much, by calculating this to equal 4 bags. It's not 4 bags. This cost 9 cents is for 5 bags. And that ended up just snowballing into lots of errors when I tried figuring later on in the equation. So, this is for 4 bags. 13.33 square feet equals 4 bags. If I get the actual cost of a bag, 9 cents for 5 bags, we divide 9 by 5. That gives us 1 cent, almost 2 cents. We then go up here, and then it equals out to be $1.80 if you pay for it regular price, or if we take almost 2 cents on sale, we get almost 8 cents for 4 bags, which is correct. So then that snowballs up here to be totally off as well, because the 37 number is for a group of 4 bags, and we basically have to take this cost and multiply it by 4. So instead of covering the field for a quarter, it would cost $1, and instead of it not on sale costing $6, it would cost $25. Savings and everything is still the same, but yeah, insane. Now that we know that everything's correct and that our bag count is right, we've gone and redone the math for exactly what it costs per bag. We get an exact cost of $1.08 for the entire field in rows. Now, the hay that goes on top of that costs nothing, because we also get that for free. This is what I think homesteading is about, is trying to get stuff as cheap as you can, reduce your overall cost of living, get as much done for as cheaply as possible. Not bad. Way better than $25.